I stood in front of my bathroom mirror, wearing the white graduation dress my mother had bought without asking what I wanted. My fingers traced the scar that ran from my temple down to my left cheek, a jagged reminder of the car accident when I was 16. From the living room, I could hear voices. My family, talking about me. We cannot have her in the family graduation photos. That scar ruins everything. People will talk. That was my mother, Mrs. Carol Wright, her voice sharp and final. Maybe she can stand in the back. Or, better yet, skip the photos entirely. My father, Mr. Gerald Wright, agreed without hesitation. Then came the worst part. My younger sister Madison laughed, actually laughed. Thank God I do not look like her. I would rather die. My hands gripped the edge of the sink so hard my knuckles went white. Something inside me cracked open. Not broke, cracked. And through that crack, a decision poured in like cold water. I would leave tonight, right now. That was the night I decided to disappear from the only family I had ever known. I just did not know that leaving would be the easiest part. I moved quietly back to my bedroom, my heart pounding but my mind suddenly clear. I pulled my old backpack from the closet and started stuffing clothes inside. Jeans, shirts, a jacket. Under my bed, I found the small tin box where I had been saving money from my part-time job at the coffee shop downtown. $330. Not much, but it was all I had. I looked around my small room. The twin bed with its faded blue comforter, the wooden desk covered in textbooks, the academic achievement certificates hanging on the wall that nobody in my family ever mentioned. I picked up the only framed family photo on my desk, taken when I was 12, before the accident. Before everything changed, my finger traced over the glass, over my younger face, unmarked and smiling. The laughter from the living room continued, carefree and cruel. I shouldered my backpack and walked toward the front door. My parents sat on the couch watching television, the blue light flickering across their faces. My mother looked up when she saw me with my bag. Her expression did not change. No surprise, no concern, just cold recognition. "Where do you think you are going?" she asked, her voice flat as stone. "I am leaving." My voice shook, but I forced the words out. "You do not want me here anyway." My father did not even look up from the screen. "It is probably better this way. You are 18 now. You can take care of yourself." Madison walked out from the kitchen with a glass of soda, ice clinking against the sides. When she saw me at the door, she smirked. "Good. Now people will stop asking if we are actually related." So embarrassing. I waited. Part of me still hoped my mother would stand up, would tell me to stay, would say she was sorry. But she just sat there, arms crossed, and said, "Do not expect to come crawling back when things get hard out there." I swallowed the tears burning in my throat. I will not. But before I reached the door, I remembered something. I wanted to take a few family photos with me. Memories, even if they hurt. I walked back to the living room and opened the large photo album that sat on the bookshelf. My hands froze. Every page that had once held pictures of me had been torn out. Birthday parties, Christmas mornings, family vacations. Anywhere my face had appeared, there was now just empty space, rough edges where photos had been ripped away. I flipped through page after page, finding nothing but gaps. I looked up at my mother. She avoided my eyes. I was reorganizing. Those photos were old. But right there on the first page was a new photo, taken just last week. My entire family smiled at the camera. My parents, Madison, everyone except me. I had not even known they took it. They had planned this. They had erased me before I ever decided to leave. The pain was physical, like someone had reached into my chest and squeezed. But I did not say anything. I just closed the album, picked up my backpack, and walked out the door. Nobody tried to stop me. The night air was cold against my face as I walked down the empty street. Streetlights cast long shadows on the sidewalk. I had no plan, nowhere to go. But I knew one person I could ask for help, my best friend Jennifer Martin. We had been close since 9th grade. She would let me stay for a few days while I figured things out. It took me 30 minutes to walk to Jennifer's house. The lights were still on when I knocked on the door just before midnight. Jennifer opened it, her face confused and uncomfortable when she saw me standing there with my backpack. "Elisa, what are you doing here so late?" "Jennifer, I need help. Can I stay with you for just a few days?" "My family." I could not finish the sentence. But Jennifer's expression shifted. She looked back over her shoulder, then stepped outside and pulled the door partly closed behind her. I am sorry, Elisa. My parents, they heard about what happened. Your family calling you. You know, they do not want us getting involved. They said it would cause problems for our family reputation. The words hit me like ice water. But we have been friends for 4 years. Jennifer looked down at her shoes. I know, but my parents are strict about this. I am really sorry. Then she stepped back inside and closed the door. I heard the lock click. I stood on her front porch, completely alone. The cold seeped through my jacket. I walked until I found a public bus stop and sat down on the cold concrete bench. It was nearly 1 in the morning. The streets were empty, except for an occasional car passing by. I pulled my jacket tighter and wrapped my arms around my backpack. For the first time since I walked out of my house, I let myself cry. Silent tears that ran down my face and dripped onto my jeans. I had no home, no family, no friends, just $330 and a backpack full of clothes. I did not sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, a stranger would walk by, and I would jolt awake, afraid. When the sun finally started to rise, painting the sky pink and orange, I stood up. My body ached, my eyes burned. But I had survived my first night alone. Now I just had to survive the rest. The first morning felt like waking up in someone else's nightmare. I walked to the gas station bathroom near the bus stop and washed my face with cold water from the sink. The fluorescent lights made my scar look even worse, the tissue raised and pink against my pale skin. A woman came in, saw me, and quickly left without using the facilities. I bought the cheapest sandwich I could find with $5. As I counted my remaining money, the reality hit me hard. $325 would not last long. I needed a job, today. I spent the entire day walking from business to business. Coffee shops, grocery stores, fast food restaurants, hardware stores, a bookshop, a clothing boutique. Every single place, I filled out an application. Every single place, the manager would look at my face, at my scar, and I would see the decision happen in their eyes before they even spoke. We need someone who can face customers. Your condition might make people uncomfortable, one store manager told me, not even trying to be subtle. At a restaurant, the hiring manager said, "We are looking for someone with a more professional appearance." By 5 in the afternoon, I had been rejected 12 times. My feet throbbed from walking all day on broken-in sneakers. My stomach growled. My hope was dying with each closed door. I sat down on a park bench and put my face in my hands. "Excuse me, dear?" A voice interrupted my despair. I looked up to see an older woman, maybe 65 years old, struggling to open the door of a laundromat while balancing several bags of clothes in her arms. One bag slipped and fell, spilling clean laundry across the sidewalk. Without thinking, I jumped up and ran over to help. I gathered shirts and towels, folding them carefully as I placed them back in the bag. "Oh, thank you so much, sweetheart." The woman smiled warmly at me. Her eyes found my scar, but her expression did not change. She just kept smiling. "You look like you have had a rough day." I nodded, not trusting my voice. "I am Patricia Coleman. I run this laundromat." She gestured to the shop behind her. "You looking for work?" My heart jumped. "Yes, I can do anything. I am a hard worker, I promise." Mrs. Coleman studied me for a moment, her eyes kind. "I need someone to help with washing, folding, and customer service. Pay is $10 per hour. Can you start tomorrow?" "Yes." The word came out too loud, too desperate. "Thank you so much. Thank you." Mrs. Coleman patted my shoulder. "Be here at 8 in the morning. Oh, and there is a cheap boarding house 2 blocks down on Maple Street. The landlord is a bit grumpy, but the rooms are clean. Tell him Patricia sent you." That evening, I found the boarding house Mrs. Coleman had mentioned. The landlord, Mr. Frank Peterson, was indeed grumpy, but he had a small room available for $350 a month. It was tiny, barely big enough for the twin bed and small dresser inside, but it had a lock on the door and a shared bathroom down the hall. I paid the first month with most of my remaining money. I had $20 left for food until my first paycheck. For 2 weeks, life found a rhythm. I woke up at 7, walked to the laundromat, and worked until 6 in the evening. Mrs. Coleman was patient and kind. She taught me how to run the industrial washing machines, how to remove different types of stains, how to fold fitted sheets properly. She told me stories about her late husband and her son who lived in another city. She brought me lunch sometimes when she noticed I was only eating crackers. The customers slowly got used to seeing me. Some were kind, others stared, but I learned to focus on the work, to keep my hands busy, to let my mind go quiet. For the first time since leaving home, I felt something like hope. Then everything fell apart again. I arrived at the laundromat on Monday morning of my third week to find the door locked and a note taped to the window. A neighbor came out from the shop next door when she saw me standing there confused. "You have not heard?" the woman asked gently. "Mrs. Coleman had a heart attack Saturday night. She passed away at the hospital." The world tilted. I grabbed the door handle to steady myself. "What? No, that cannot be right. I just saw her Friday. She was fine." But it was true. Mrs. Coleman was gone. I attended her funeral 3 days later. It was small, held at a church I had never been to before. I sat in the back pew, crying for this woman who had been kind to me when nobody else would. After the service, I met her son, Derek Coleman. He was 32, wearing an expensive suit, and clearly eager to leave. "Are you one of my mother's employees?" he asked when I introduced myself. "Yes, sir. She hired me 2 weeks ago. I am so sorry for your loss." He nodded absently, already looking past me at other people. "Right. Well, thank you for coming." 3 days after the funeral, Derek called me. "I am closing the laundromat to sell the property. Your last day is Friday. I will have your final paycheck ready." But I could keep working. I could run things until you find a buyer. "No need. Friday is your last day." He hung up. Just like that, I was unemployed again. The same day I lost my job, Mr. Peterson knocked on my door. "Rent is increasing next month. $500 instead of $350. Costs are going up everywhere." I stared at him. "But that is more than a 40% increase." He shrugged. "Pay it or find somewhere else." I had less than $100 left after paying this month's rent. The rent increase meant I would need $600 in 2 weeks just for the room and food. Without a job, that was impossible. I sat on my bed that night, doing math in my head over and over, hoping the numbers would somehow change. They did not. I was going to end up on the street. The crack that had opened in my heart the night I left home split wider. I had thought getting out, surviving on my own, would be enough. But the world kept pushing me down, kept finding new ways to break me. I thought about my mother's words. "Do not expect to come crawling back when things get hard out there." Things were not just hard, they were impossible. But I would rather sleep on the street than prove her right by going back. So I did the only thing I could do. I went looking for another job. I found work, but it came in pieces. 3 part-time jobs that barely paid enough when combined, and definitely did not leave time for things like rest or hope. My morning started at 7 when I arrived at a diner called Rosie's to wash dishes. The kitchen was hot and cramped, grease coating every surface. I scrubbed plates and pans for 4 hours straight, my hands turning red and raw from the constant water and soap. The cook yelled if I was not fast enough. The pay was $9 an hour. At 1 in the afternoon, I rushed across town to the Comfort Inn, a small hotel that needed housekeepers. I cleaned 12 rooms during my 4-hour shift, stripping beds, scrubbing toilets, vacuuming floors, wiping mirrors. My back ached constantly. Some guests left tips, usually just $1 or $2. Most left nothing but trash and dirty towels. This job paid $10 an hour. At 10 at night, when most people were getting ready for bed, I walked to my third job at a 24-hour convenience store. I worked the overnight shift until 2 in the morning, standing behind the counter selling cigarettes and lottery tickets to insomniacs and night workers. Twice a week, someone tried to shoplift. Once, a drunk man threatened me when I refused to sell him more alcohol. The owner paid me minimum wage, $8.25 per hour. I got home around 2:30 in the morning. I would eat something quick, usually instant noodles or cheap bread with peanut butter, then collapse into bed. My alarm went off at 6:30 to start the cycle again. I slept 4, maybe 5 hours a night. My body moved on autopilot. I stopped dreaming. I stopped thinking about anything except the next shift, the next paycheck, the next rent payment. 6 weeks into this routine, I had a rare afternoon off when my hotel shift was canceled. I went to the shopping mall, needing to buy new work pants since mine had torn. As I walked through the bright corridors filled with laughing teenagers and families, I saw someone I recognized. Madison, my sister. She was with 3 friends, all of them carrying shopping bags from expensive stores. She wore a designer jacket I recognized from a magazine ad, probably $200. Her hair was professionally styled. She was laughing at something one of her friends said. My heart squeezed. Despite everything, seeing her hurt, I wanted to walk away, but my feet moved forward before my brain could stop them. Madison? She turned around. Her face went from happy to horrified in seconds. Her cheeks flushed red. One of her friends, a girl with perfect makeup, looked at me with undisguised disgust. Who is this, Maddie? Madison's eyes met mine for just a second. I saw the calculation happen. Then she looked away, addressing her friend instead of me. Nobody. Just some homeless person trying to bother us. The other girls laughed. She should go find a shelter or something, one of them said. Madison grabbed her friend's arm. Come on, let us go. They walked away quickly, Madison never looking back. I stood frozen in the middle of the mall, shoppers flowing around me like water around a stone. People stared. Some whispered. I looked down at my clothes, suddenly seeing myself through their eyes. My jeans were worn and stained. My jacket had a rip in the sleeve. My shoes were falling apart. I looked exactly like what Madison had called me. Homeless. I left the mall and walked back to my tiny room. That night, I could not sleep despite my exhaustion. I lay in bed, staring at the water-stained ceiling, Madison's words playing over and over in my head. Just some homeless person. But as the hours passed and the sky outside my window shifted from black to dark blue, something changed inside me. The hurt hardened into something else. Determination. Anger. Refusal. I would not let them win. I would not let my appearance or my past define my future. I had to find a way out of this cycle, this trap of barely surviving. I remembered something from high school, my graphic design class senior year. I had been good at it, really good. I won second place in the school's poster design contest. The teacher had told me I had talent, that I should pursue it. That morning, during my 2-hour break between jobs, I went to the public library. I used their free computers to research graphic design courses online. I found one that cost $200 and came with a certificate. It was self-paced, could be done entirely online. $200. It might as well have been $2,000, but I did the math. If I ate only instant noodles and skipped meals when I could, if I walked everywhere instead of taking the bus, if I did not buy anything except absolute necessities, I could save it in 2 months. So that is what I did. For 8 weeks, I worked my 3 jobs and ate as little as possible. I lost weight I could not afford to lose. My clothes hung looser. But I saved every single dollar I could. Finally, I had $200 in my tin box. I registered for the online course and bought a used laptop from a thrift store for $150. It was old and slow, but it worked. Every night after my convenience store shift, I would come home at 2:30 in the morning and study until 5. Then I would sleep for 90 minutes before my dishwashing shift started at 7. I learned about color theory, typography, layout design, software tools. I did every assignment, even though my eyes burned and my brain felt like mud. I was building something, a future, a way out. 6 weeks into the course, I was working on my final project, a complete branding package for a fake company. It was due in 3 days and I was proud of what I had created. The best work I had ever done. I saved everything on my laptop and went to my dishwashing shift. When I came home that afternoon, I opened my laptop to continue working. The screen was black. I pressed the power button. Nothing. I tried plugging it in, unplugging it, holding down different key combinations. Nothing worked. Panic rising. I took it to a repair shop the next day. The technician opened it up, poked around, and shook his head. Motherboard is dead. Cost to fix it would be almost as much as buying a new used laptop, maybe $120, and I cannot recover any of your data. Everything on the hard drive is gone. Gone. My coursework, my assignments, my final project, 6 weeks of work, all gone. I walked out of the repair shop and sat down on the curb. I wanted to cry, but I was too tired, too hollowed out. The universe was punishing me for hoping, for trying. I posted in the online course discussion group, explaining what happened, asking if anyone had advice. The next day, someone named Amy Foster replied. She said she had an extra laptop she could sell me cheap, and if I did not have enough money, she would lend me the difference. We met at a coffee shop. Amy seemed nice, sympathetic. We talked about the course and the final project. She showed me the laptop. It was newer than my old one, in good condition. She said she wanted $1,200 for it total, but I could pay her back over 3 months. No interest, just because she wanted to help a fellow student. I was desperate. I signed the informal loan agreement she wrote up on a napkin and took the laptop. She gave me her number and her email and left. For 2 weeks, everything seemed okay. I finished my course using the new laptop and got my certificate. I felt accomplished, like maybe things were turning around. Then one morning, the laptop asked for a password I had never set. I tried everything I could think of. Nothing worked. The laptop was locked, completely unusable. I tried calling Amy. The number was disconnected. I tried emailing. The address bounced back. I went back to the coffee shop, hoping to find her there. Nobody had heard of her. I checked the online course discussion group. Amy Foster's profile was gone, deleted. I asked other students if they knew her. Nobody did. One person said the profile had only existed for a few days. The truth crashed over me. I had been scammed. Amy probably bought a locked laptop cheap, maybe even stolen, then found a desperate student to sell it to at an inflated price. The loan agreement I signed meant nothing because I had no way to find her, and even if I did, I had no money for a lawyer. I had lost $1,200. Money I did not have. Money I would now have to work off with 3 part-time jobs that barely kept me fed. I sat in my room that night, looking at the useless laptop, and felt something inside me break completely. Not crack, break. I put my head down on my little desk and finally cried until I had no tears left. Getting out of bed the next morning was the hardest thing I had ever done, but I did it, because what else could I do? I went to work. I washed dishes. I cleaned hotel rooms. I stood behind a convenience store counter. And I survived, because that was all I knew how to do anymore. Without money for a new laptop and drowning in debt from Amy's scam, I had to find another solution. I remembered seeing computers at the community center downtown, free to use for local residents. I went there the next day and signed up. They allowed each person 2 hours per day. It was not much, but it was something. Every evening after my hotel shift, I would go to the community center and use those precious 2 hours to practice my design skills. I rebuilt my portfolio from scratch. I watched tutorial videos. I completed practice projects. I was exhausted, but I could not give up. Not now. Not after everything. One Tuesday evening, about 3 weeks into this new routine, an older woman stopped behind me to look at the design I was working on, a poster for a fake charity event. "That is really impressive work," she said. I turned around, startled. She was maybe 50 years old, with silver hair pulled back in a neat bun and kind eyes behind thin glasses. "Thank you," I managed. "I am Helen Brooks. I volunteer here teaching digital arts classes on weekends." She held out her hand and I shook it. "Your composition is excellent, very professional. Where did you study?" I took an online course. I am self-taught mostly." Dr. Brooks pulled up a chair and sat beside me. "Tell me about yourself." I hesitated. I had learned not to trust people easily, but something about Dr. Brooks felt safe. So I told her. Not everything, but enough. About losing my job, about working 3 part-time jobs, about trying to learn design in stolen hours. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she nodded slowly. "I taught digital arts at the community college for 28 years before I retired. Would you be interested in working with me? I could mentor you, help you build a real portfolio. No charge. I just enjoy working with talented young people." I stared at her. "Why would you do that?" "Because someone did it for me once, a long time ago. And because talent like yours should not be wasted washing dishes." She smiled. "What do you say?" "Yes, absolutely yes." For the next 3 months, Dr. Brooks met with me twice a week at the community center. She taught me advanced techniques. She critiqued my work with honesty but never cruelty. She helped me set up a professional portfolio website using a free platform. She showed me how to find freelance clients on different online platforms. She became the mother figure I had needed since the night I left home. Under her guidance, I applied for my first freelance project. A local bakery needed a new logo. They offered $150. I worked on it for 3 days, revising and perfecting. When I submitted it, the owner loved it. She paid me immediately through the platform, $150. It was not much, but I had earned it with my skills, not my back or my burned hands. I bought a cheap refurbished laptop with some of the money and saved the rest. More small jobs followed. A menu design for a restaurant, social media graphics for a yoga studio, a flyer for a pet grooming business. I was building a reputation. My portfolio grew. My ratings on the freelance platform climbed to 5 stars. Dr. Brooks was proud. "You are doing so well, Elisa. I knew you had it in you." Then I got my biggest project yet. A complete brand identity package for a new company called Apex Marketing Solutions. They needed a logo, business cards, letterhead, social media templates, everything. The client offered $800. $800. That could pay off a huge chunk of my debt. It could let me quit one of my part-time jobs. It could change everything. I worked harder on that project than I had ever worked on anything. I stayed up even later than usual, refining every detail until it was perfect. The logo was clever and modern. The color palette was sophisticated. The typography was clean and professional. It was the best work I had ever produced. I submitted everything through email as the client requested. They responded within hours. "Looks perfect, we'll send payment soon." I waited. 1 week passed. No payment. I sent a polite follow-up email. The client responded, "We need a few more revisions first." I made the revisions they requested and sent them back. 2 more weeks passed, still no payment. I emailed again. This time the response was colder. "The quality is not what we expected. We cannot use these designs. No payment." My stomach dropped. I called the phone number they had provided. It went straight to voicemail. I left 3 messages. No response. I tried emailing from a different address. They blocked me. Desperate, I searched for Apex Marketing Solutions online to find another way to contact them. My blood turned to ice. Their website was live. Their social media pages were active. And they were using my designs. Every single one. The logo, the business cards, the social media templates. Everything I had created was there, displayed as their official brand identity. They had stolen my work, used it without paying, and because I was young and inexperienced and desperate, I had not made them sign a proper contract. I had no legal protection, just emails that they had probably already deleted. I felt sick, betrayed, stupid. $800 worth of work, gone. Weeks of effort, stolen. And there was nothing I could do about it. The money I had been counting on to pull myself out of the hole was never coming. My landlord, Mr. Peterson, was already asking when I would pay next month's rent. I had been planning to use the Apex payment for it. Now I had nothing. 3 days later, Mr. Peterson knocked on my door. "Rent is due in 3 days. If you do not have it, you need to leave. Please, I am waiting on a payment for a big project. I just need a few more days." 3 days, Elisa. That is all you get. I fell to my knees after he left. I had been beaten down so many times, but this felt like the final blow. I could not keep doing this. I could not keep trying just to have everything ripped away. I sat on the floor of my room, looking at my laptop screen showing Apex Marketing's website with my stolen designs, and wondered if maybe I should just give up. 2 days before I would be evicted, I went to the community center to meet Dr. Brooks for our regular session. When I walked in, she took one look at my face and knew something was terribly wrong. What happened? I told her everything. About Apex Marketing, the stolen designs, the missing payment, the impending eviction. My voice stayed steady until the very end, when it finally cracked. "I do not know what to do anymore." Dr. Brooks's face hardened with anger. "Not at me. For me, this is theft and fraud. You must fight back. You cannot let them get away with this. I do not have money for a lawyer. I do not even have money for rent. I have a friend, Thomas Anderson. He is a lawyer who does pro bono work for artists and designers being taken advantage of. Let me call him. 3 days later, I sat in Mr. Anderson's small office. He was maybe 60 years old, with gray hair and a kind but serious face. He reviewed everything I brought. The emails, the design files with timestamps showing when I created them, screenshots of Apex's website using my work. This is clear-cut copyright infringement, he said. We can sue them. I will do this pro bono. If we lose, you pay nothing. If we win, I take a small percentage of whatever we recover. Really? Really? What they did is wrong, Elisa, and I do not like it when big companies bully young artists. We filed the lawsuit. Dr. Brooks even helped me with the rent money that month, lending it to me interest-free. Pay me back when you can, she said. Right now, focus on your case and your future. Over the next 4 months, I continued my 3 jobs and my freelance work. This time, I was careful. I made every client sign a contract. I required a deposit before starting work. I watermarked every file before sending it. I was not going to be taken advantage of again. My reputation on the freelance platform continued to grow. I worked with more clients, small businesses, local startups, individuals needing graphics for their projects. My income from freelancing slowly increased. $500 one month, $700 the next. By the 4th month, I was making $900 from design work alone. It was not enough to quit my other jobs yet, but it was progress. Real, tangible progress. The lawsuit moved forward. Mr. Anderson was confident. We have strong evidence. Their lawyer knows it too. I expect they will try to settle. For the first time in years, I felt like maybe, just maybe, things were going to be okay. I had Dr. Brooks supporting me. I had a career building. I had a lawyer fighting for me. I was still poor and exhausted, but I had hope. Then Apex struck back. I received legal papers in the mail. Apex Marketing Solutions was countersuing ME. They claimed I had stolen their designs and was now trying to extort money from them. They had fabricated evidence, fake timestamps that made it look like they created the designs before I did. They were suing me for copyright infringement and demanding damages. Mr. Anderson's face was grave when we met to discuss it. This is an intimidation tactic. They have money and a good lawyer. They want to scare you into dropping your case. What happens if they win? You could owe them a significant amount of money, maybe as much as $10,000. $10,000. I might as well owe $10 million. I could never pay that in my entire life. What should I do? We keep fighting. But I will not lie to you, Elisa. This just got a lot more complicated and expensive. We will need expert witnesses to authenticate the timestamp data. That costs money. How much? Around $1,500. I felt dizzy. I did not have $1,500. I barely had $150 in savings. Dr. Brooks loaned me the money when I told her. This is important, she said firmly. You cannot let them win. But the damage was already done. Apex posted on social media, calling me a fraud who stole from businesses and pretended to be a victim. The post went viral in local design communities. People started sharing it. Within a week, 3 of my clients canceled their projects. New clients stopped contacting me. Someone left a 1-star review on my freelance profile claiming I had stolen their work, even though I had never worked with that person. The account was obviously fake, probably created by Apex, but the damage was done. My freelance income dropped from $900 that month to less than $300. The reputation I had built over months crumbled in days. I had to pick up extra shifts at the convenience store just to make rent. I was working more than 70 hours a week again and still barely surviving. Then Dr. Brooks called me one Tuesday morning. Her voice sounded weak. Elisa, I will not be able to make our session today. I am in the hospital. What? What happened? They found cancer. Stage 2. I start chemotherapy next week. My whole world tilted. Dr. Brooks was the only person who believed in me, who supported me, who felt like family. And now she was sick. Really sick. I am coming to see you, I said. No, honey, you have work. I will be fine. But I went anyway. I found her in a hospital room looking small and tired in the bed. When she saw me, she smiled weakly. You should not have come. You need to take care of yourself. I sat beside her bed and took her hand. You have taken care of me. Let me be here for you. She squeezed my hand. Do not give up, Elisa. You are stronger than you think. Stronger than any of this. But as I rode the bus home that evening, I felt anything but strong. I was drowning. The lawsuit was dragging on. My income had collapsed. My mentor was sick. My landlord was threatening eviction again because I was 3 days late with rent. I owed money to Dr. Brooks that I could never repay. I had climbed so far only to fall further than I had ever been before. And I did not know if I had the strength to get up one more time. I was sitting in my room, staring at the eviction notice Mr. Peterson had slipped under my door that morning, when my phone buzzed with an email notification. I almost deleted it without reading, assuming it was another bill or another piece of bad news. But something made me open it. Dear Miss Wright, we at Sterling Design Co. came across your portfolio online and are impressed with your style and skill. We are currently looking for a junior graphic designer to join our team. Would you be available for an interview next week? I read it 3 times, certain it must be fake. Another scam, another trick. I researched the company obsessively that night. Sterling Design Co. was a legitimate design firm that had been operating for over 20 years. They had worked with major clients. Their office was downtown in a nice building. The email signature belonged to their actual hiring manager. It seemed real. I had nothing to lose, so I responded, yes, I would love to interview. The interview was scheduled for Thursday at 10 in the morning. I had to call in sick to my dishwashing shift. I wore my best outfit, which was not saying much. A plain black dress I had bought at a thrift store, and the only pair of shoes I owned that did not have holes in them. I did my best with my hair and my makeup to look professional. Sterling Design Co.'s office was beautiful. Large windows, modern furniture, employees working at sleek computers. I felt completely out of place. The receptionist led me to a glass-walled conference room where a man in his mid-40s waited. He had kind eyes and an easy smile. Elisa Wright? I am Jonathan Price, Director of Design. Please, sit down. We shook hands and I sat, my portfolio folder trembling slightly in my lap. Mr. Price reviewed my portfolio on his tablet. I had sent it ahead of time. He nodded as he scrolled through each piece. Your work is really excellent. Strong sense of composition. Good use of color. I especially like this logo series. Thank you, sir. Tell me about yourself. How did you get into design? I hesitated. Every instinct told me to lie, to make up a story about going to college and having a normal life. But something about Mr. Price's genuine manner made me want to be honest. Can I be completely honest with you? Please, I appreciate transparency. So I told him about my family disowning me, about working 3 jobs, about teaching myself design, about the online course and Dr. Brooks, about trying to build a freelance career, and finally, carefully, I told him about Apex Marketing Solutions. When I said the company name, Mr. Price's expression changed completely. Apex Marketing Solutions? He leaned forward. I know that company very well. Too well. He told me his story. 3 years ago, Sterling Design Co. had collaborated with Apex on a large project. Apex had stolen Sterling's designs, refused payment, and then countersued when Sterling tried to fight back. Mr. Price had wanted to keep fighting, but the legal costs became too high. Sterling eventually settled out of court, taking a loss just to make it end. They are professional con artists, Mr. Price said, his voice hard. They target small designers and firms, steal the work, then use the legal system to intimidate their victims into silence. I have regretted backing down ever since. He looked at me intently. You are fighting them? Yes. I filed a lawsuit with my pro bono lawyer. Good. Do not give up. And I want to help you. I should have fought harder back then. Consider this my second chance. He pulled out his phone and made a call right there. Thomas? Jonathan Price. I have a case I want to discuss with you. It turned out Mr. Price and Mr. Anderson knew each other through the local business community. Mr. Price offered to provide everything Sterling had from their case 3 years ago. Emails showing Apex's fraudulent practices, evidence of fake timestamps, testimony from staff who witnessed the theft. He also introduced Mr. Anderson to Sterling's corporate lawyer, who agreed to assist with my case pro bono as well. Apex has been getting away with this for too long, the lawyer said. With the new evidence, the lawsuit turned around completely. The expert testimony showed conclusively that Apex had faked their timestamps. The court discovered Apex had done this to at least 4 other designers in the past 3 years. The judge was not pleased. 2 months later, the verdict came. Apex Marketing Solutions was ordered to pay me $8,500 in damages and lost wages. They were also fined by the court and faced investigation for their other fraudulent activities. Their reputation in the design community was destroyed overnight. Companies canceled contracts. Their social media exploded with angry comments from other victims. I had won. Actually won. The day after the verdict, Mr. Price called me into his office. That job offer is still open. Junior designer, $2,500 per month, full benefits. When can you start? I almost cried right there. Really? You still want to hire me? Elisa, you just took down a company that bullied me into backing down. You are exactly the kind of person I want on my team. Talented, determined, and honest. So yes, I really want to hire you. I started at Sterling Design Co. the following Monday. I quit all 3 of my part-time jobs. For the first time in 2 years, I worked normal hours. I had health insurance. I had paid time off. I worked with a team of skilled designers who treated me like a colleague, not a charity case. Dr. Brooks finished her chemotherapy. The treatment worked. She was going to be okay. I paid her back every dollar she had lent me. I moved into a small studio apartment with actual furniture and a kitchen. I bought new clothes. I ate real meals. I slept 8 hours a night. 3 months into my new job, Sterling Design Co. held its annual gala to celebrate the year's successes. It was held in a fancy hotel ballroom. Everyone dressed up. There was catered food and music and an open bar. I wore a dress I had bought specifically for the occasion. A real dress from a real store, not a thrift shop. I did my makeup carefully. I styled my hair. When I looked in the mirror, I saw someone confident looking back. Someone professional. Someone who had earned her place. I was talking with 2 colleagues near the refreshment table when the ballroom doors opened and a group of people walked in. My heart stopped. My mother. My father. Madison. They had not seen me yet. They were looking around the elegant room with impressed expressions. Madison was holding onto the arm of a tall man I recognized from the office. Brian Thompson, one of the senior designers. They must have been dating. My hands started shaking. I could not move. I could not breathe. Mr. Price took the stage to give his annual speech, thanking everyone for their hard work. As part of the presentation, he introduced the design team, calling out each person by name and highlighting their accomplishments. And I want to especially recognize Elisa Wright, who joined us this year and has already proven herself to be an incredibly talented designer. Her work on the Riverside Development campaign was outstanding. The room applauded. I stood up and smiled, acknowledging the recognition. That is when my family turned around and saw me. My mother's mouth fell open. My father's eyes went wide. Madison looked like she had been slapped. After the speech, I tried to slip away to a quiet corner, but my family was already moving toward me. Madison's face was red, whether from embarrassment or anger I could not tell. My mother reached me first. Elisa? Sweetheart? We had no idea you were working here. You look so different. So successful. My father nodded eagerly. We are proud of you. We always knew you would do well. The lies came so easily to them. You were not proud 10 years ago, I said quietly. You threw me out because of my scar. You told me not to come back. Madison stepped forward, her voice sharp. Stop being so dramatic, Elisa. It was not that bad. You are making it sound worse than it was. Before I could respond, Madison raised her voice so people around us could hear. Wait, everyone should know the truth about Elisa. She is a thief. She stole designs from another company. There was a huge lawsuit. Brian told me all about it. The people nearby turned to look. The room went quiet. Brian, standing behind Madison, looked confused and uncomfortable. I never said that. But Madison kept going, her voice getting louder. She is a fraud. She probably copied all her designs from somewhere else. Mr. Price appeared beside me. His voice was calm but firm, carrying across the room. That is absolutely false. Elisa was the victim of design theft. She fought back and won against a fraudulent company. I personally helped with her case. She is one of the most talented and ethical designers I have ever worked with. Sarah Mitchell, one of the senior designers, spoke up from across the room. Elisa is incredibly hardworking. She earned everything she has here. Do not spread lies about her. Brian pulled his arm away from Madison. Why would you say that? You do not even know the facts. I told you about Apex Marketing being sued, not Elisa. He looked at her with disappointment and disgust. I cannot believe you would do this. Madison's face turned bright red. She looked around at the staring faces, then grabbed her purse and rushed toward the exit. My parents stood frozen, completely humiliated. My mother tried one more time. Elisa, please, can we talk privately? No. My voice was steady, strong. You had 10 years to talk to me. You chose not to. I turned and walked away, back to my colleagues, who welcomed me with supportive smiles and pats on the shoulder. I could feel my family's eyes on my back, but I did not look back. I was done looking back. After the gala ended, I drove home to my little studio apartment. My hands were still shaking from the confrontation, but it was not fear. It was the trembling that comes after you finally stand up for yourself. My phone buzzed with text messages. Madison, then my mother, then my father. I deleted them without reading and blocked their numbers. The next day was Saturday. I went to visit Dr. Brooks at her house. She looked so much healthier now, her color back, her energy returning. Tell me everything, she said, pouring us both tea in her sunny kitchen. I told her about the gala, about my family showing up, about Madison's attempt to embarrass me, about Mr. Price and my colleagues defending me, about how I had walked away. Dr. Brooks reached across the table and squeezed my hand. I am so proud of you. You stood up for yourself. That takes real courage. I could not have done any of this without you, I said. You believed in me when nobody else did. You were more of a mother to me than my own mother ever was. Her eyes filled with tears. And you gave me purpose when I thought my teaching days were over. We helped each other, sweetheart. That is what family does. Real family. Not the people you share blood with, but the people who show up, who fight for you, who believe in you even when you cannot believe in yourself. That evening, I sat at my desk in my apartment and opened my journal. I had started keeping one a few months ago, something Dr. Brooks had suggested to process everything I had been through. I wrote, 10 years ago, they called me the ugly high school graduate. They disowned me because of a scar, but that scar saved me. It showed me who truly cared and who did not. It forced me to build my own life, on my own terms. I learned that beauty is not about a perfect face. It is about resilience. It is about getting up after being knocked down again and again. It is about refusing to let others define your worth. I am not the scared 18-year-old girl anymore. I am Elisa Wright, graphic designer, survivor, fighter, and I am proud of every scar, inside and out. The following Monday, Mr. Price called me into his office. Elisa, I have been really impressed with your work. I am promoting you to mid-level designer, effective immediately. That comes with a salary increase to $3,200 per month. Also, we have a major new client, a tech startup with a significant budget. I want you to lead the project. I felt tears prick my eyes. Thank you. Thank you so much. You earned it. That evening, I took Dr. Brooks out to dinner at a nice restaurant to celebrate. We sat by the window, watching people walk by on the busy street, the city alive with lights and movement. Do you ever think about forgiving them? Dr. Brooks asked gently. Your family? I considered the question. Maybe someday, but not now. Right now, I need to focus on the people who actually love me. The family I chose, not the family I was born into. She smiled. That is very wise. I learned from the best. We raised our glasses of sparkling water and clinked them together. Through the window, I caught my reflection in the glass. The scar was still there, running down my cheek. But I did not see it the way I used to. Now when I looked at it, I saw survival. I saw strength. I saw proof that I had lived through hell and come out the other side. 10 years ago, my family threw me away because they thought my scar made me worthless. They wanted perfect pictures and perfect appearances, and they were willing to sacrifice their own daughter to get it. But they were wrong. I was not worthless. I was not ugly. I was a fighter. And I had built a life they could never take away from me. I had a career I loved, I had people who truly cared about me. I had proven to myself that I could survive anything. Most importantly, I had learned that my value did not come from how I looked or who approved of me. It came from who I was inside, from my determination and my refusal to give up even when everything seemed impossible. The journey from that desperate 18-year-old girl leaving home with a backpack to the confident 28-year-old woman sitting in this restaurant had been brutal. There were times I wanted to give up, times I thought I could not take one more hit, but I kept going. And every time life knocked me down, I got back up. Not because I was special or strong or blessed, but because I refused to let them win. Refused to prove my mother right, refused to disappear. And that refusal, that stubborn determination to survive and then to thrive, had made all the difference. So, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like everyone was against you? Like no matter how hard you tried, life kept pushing you down? How did you keep going? What gave you the strength? I would love to hear your story in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, if it reminded you that you are stronger than your circumstances, please hit that like button. It really helps other people who need to hear this message find this video. Subscribe to the channel if you want to hear more stories about people who refused to give up, who fought back against impossible odds, who turned their pain into power. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it today. We all know someone who is fighting their own battle, who feels alone or worthless or defeated. Sometimes all it takes is one story, one reminder that survival is possible to change everything. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for being here. I hope wherever you are in your journey, whether you are at the beginning or somewhere in the middle, you remember this. You are not defined by the people who rejected you. You are not limited by your circumstances. And you are definitely not worthless, no matter what anyone says. You are a fighter. You are a survivor. And your story is not over yet. Stay strong, keep fighting, and never let anyone convince you that you are anything less than worthy. Until next time, take care of yourself. You deserve it.